Good morning, Salt community. My name is Adam Carr, and I'm an executive director at Sable Warrior. And I wanted to go ahead this morning and first off say welcome to our first Warrior meditation session. So this is the first time in 8 years that we've had an organization where we've been able to come online and teach you a meditation that we have developed from within our community and give it away for free in a digital platform. So we're really excited to do that. For those of you that aren't aware of what we do, we serve veterans and we serve first responders in the realm of suicidality, anxiety, depression, you name it. We're probably the most studied, documented nonprofit that's in this space, specifically targeted at this in the post 9/11 era. So it's an honor to come to you right now. It's an honor to come live. We're going to be doing this twice a day. So I'm going to be kicking them off on at 10 a.m. in the mornings. That's Eastern Standard Time. The reason we chose 10 a.m. is because it allows our West Coast brothers and sisters a chance to be able to get on at about 7 a.m. and join us in this. Now, I'm going to ask you, I know we have about 16,000 people on this page. I'm going to ask you to invite. So if you have friends that are serving in any capacity, whether they're a first responder, a veteran, they're out there right now as a clinician trying to combat what we're all unified in combating, which is COVID-19, please invite them. This is a technique and a practice that has been beneficial to so many. We have served over 1,050 that have come through our program, and that's for a physical cohort. So they've sat in a seat, whether it was in a 5.5 day iteration, which is the old legacy program, or the new modified integrative, basically it's called the MILE, but the modified integrative legacy experience, and that is a 4-day program. And so we've changed a little bit of things around, but the foundation of what we do is meditation. And our organization was actually incorporated as the Warrior Meditation Foundation. That's what we actually think about this. We do business as Sable Warrior, so that is the organization we go by as now, but Warrior Meditation Foundation is the roots of what we do. It looks like we have a lot of people hopping on here, so generally it takes me about 60 to 90 minutes to explain meditation, to get somebody that maybe is completely unfamiliar with it, a grasp on what it is to meditate, why we meditate, how it's beneficial. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time. I probably have about 35 minutes with you this morning. We want to keep this relatively brief, but I do want to allow anyone who is meditating to join me in the meditation, and anyone who is a first timer that, hey, I've never meditated before, but I've heard about this mindfulness thing. I've heard about meditation. I've heard it's beneficial. Whatever I'm doing in my life's not working right now. Why don't I give this a shot? I hope that you'll join in and tune in with us. Our founder, Jake Clark, he's going to be going live this evening, and we'll be doing this every day. So we'll do a 10 a.m. and then we'll do one in the evening as well, in which Jake will come on and basically discuss and share maybe a little bit about his background and guide you in a meditation. And both of our meditations, we'll be using the same type of meditation, warrior meditation. And the languaging may be a little bit different because we have different teaching styles. I've been doing this for about 4 years now. I've taught thousands of people how to meditate, from our veterans and first responders that come through the program to me going off on my own and taking this and sharing this with other people. Because again, this is free. You can go to other organizations out there where they'll charge you in a seminar format to come and learn a particular meditation. We don't believe in that. Everything we do doesn't have a transaction. We're non-transactional. We want somebody to be able to come in that we believe deserves this and get this experience and have a better life, essentially. So we're going to get right to the root of meditation. So everything we do and everything that we've built here in this organization is predicated on clinical research. We're a warrior-led organization, but everything we do is predicated on that. So we take the best sourcing from around the globe, from Mayo Clinic, from Stanford, from Harvard, from Penn, from the Ivy League docs, to you name it, to white papers, periodicals, journals, scientific journals, you name it. We're digging into that constantly and refining this program because we want to make sure we have the most up-to-date material for you. So here's a couple books that I'm going to suggest that you read. One of the foundational books that got us to start this meditation technique is called How God Changes Your Brain. What this should be really titled is How Meditation Changes Your Brain. And it goes into basically, hey, meditation is not a fringe science anymore. This is something that we have medical research on. We have the fMRI brain scans to prove that our brain doesn't stop developing at 25 years old. We know that now. Like, that's not even a debatable thing. So I'm not on here to debate with anybody. I'm on here to share something that's worked very well for over 1,000 people. So well that it's changed most of their lives that have gone through and do this on a daily practice. So How God Changes Your Brain, Andrew Newberg, Mark Waldman. These are the two authors. So that's a great one to check out. I know a lot of folks on this may have some downtime right now. They may be looking into how they can pass the time, and instead of being glued to that TV or phone, digging into some of these books is great. So there's probably 75 pages of reference on this, where they have dug into references on why meditation works, the science behind meditation. So I'm not going to go into that right now. I usually do, but check it out. Another book that I recommend, Altered Traits. This is a little bit newer than How God Changes Your Brain. This is another one that talks about the physiological effects on top of the psychological effects and the biological effects that happen to us as human beings when we meditate. So again, not fringe science. We know that we have science to back this. Another book that I've been doing every day is called A Course in Miracles. I've been doing this with our founder, Jake Clark. Fantastic book if you've not heard of it. It's just a daily excerpt that you'll pull out of this book where there's a lesson each day to do. That's something that's really powerful. And you'll see a lot of the work. So we have a reading list of about 100 that we give to our alumni, but you'll see a lot of the works that we have on the list probably behind me on this bookshelf. So why do we meditate? Really, meditation, the foundation of that is just breathing. It's getting down to the breath, and it's being in a place where you don't attach judgment to whatever comes to you. So you're not flooded with emotion. I'm not going to get into the autonomic nervous system and your sympathetic and parasympathetic. I'm not going to get into the limbic system. I'm not going to get into any of these things, maybe at a later date. I'm not going to get into any of the brain science. I just want you to know that at the foundation of this, it's about breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, nice deep breaths, okay? So why do we meditate? Well, the most important thing, at least for me as a father, I have a family of 5. I have 3 kids at home. I spent most of my career in the Army as a Green Beret, and most of that was away from my family. And so it was tough for me to transition out and come back in and try to basically integrate back into society after living that lifestyle for about 12 years, since 2002 when the towers fell. So for me, learning how to become emotionally sober was massive in my life, because without emotional sobriety, I have... basically, my life is a mess. I'm trying to get by every day, trying to figure out why I'm upset, trying to figure out why I'm letting little things bother me. All of these little micro stresses that we as human beings get inundated with on a daily basis. Everyone's heard of that fight or flight syndrome, and that was designed within our biology so that we could fend off a saber-toothed tiger or a threat that was coming at us. And that worked really well for the history of humanity. But now we sit in a time where we have, these things right here, and these cell phones essentially on top of the 24-hour news cycle and everything else. You can just feel like the world is ending if you're getting into all these little stresses. And it starts in the morning maybe when you wake up and you have little kids at home, and anybody out there that has a family knows that your stress levels can raise almost immediately. And then you get in the car, and then you have a traffic jam and all these other things. And right now, I know a lot of folks may be at home. I know a lot of the states that we serve are under some type of quarantine right now. I'm in Ohio. We just got a stay-at-home kind of order put out yesterday that's recommending everybody to stay at home unless you're going out for essential services. So I understand that it can be really stressful. And with 3 kids at home, for me, getting up and before everybody else and getting a meditation helps the day show up differently for me. Because I'm not used to being at home 24/7 with my kids. I'm not used to not having the freedom to go out and do all of these things, not at least right now. And so having this way of being, because I don't like to use the word tools, neither does our founder, but we don't really look at an epistemological approach on this. We take a real hard ontological inquiry into the ways of being that we are as a human being. So am I showing up already always cynical? Like, there may be somebody in this comment feed, and I'm not looking at all the comments right now, but that is showing up cynical already, and that's not open to whatever process I'm about to recommend. There may be somebody that's already always upset, and we may be that person. You may recognize that person in your family right now that's just always already complaining about whatever's going on. And so the idea behind that is to really center yourself and to start to recognize within ourselves that internal dialogue that's been going on probably since we were kids, and start to silence that and start to get to a place where we can have a little compassion, a little empathy, and definitely some peace. And that's what meditation does. It does it through the breath work. It does it to where the day can show up differently. And it does it to where Instead of reacting to little things like spilled milk on the counter, which I used to run my house like a drill sergeant and be yelling at the kids over the silliest things, it allows us to show up to where we respond to things. And the difference between reacting and responding, that can be the difference between a domestic violence charge or not. That can be the difference between going to prison or not. That can be the difference between getting in your car and driving intoxicated or not. It's like that extra half second to where if you can get into a place where you respond and you can take that extra half second, it may just change your life forever. That may be the decision. Now imagine the compound effect of doing that day in and day out. One person's life that's meditating and one person's life that's not may not look too different from themselves in a day, in a 2, in a week, you name it. But look at it from a year, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our lives will go in completely different directions if we just start to show up every day, and do some type of mindfulness-based practice. Meditation's one of those practices, and that's what we encourage in our program. We encourage you to do it when you wake up. We encourage you to do it in the evening. Twice a day is great. And a lot of people will come to me and say, hey, I don't have 20 minutes to do a meditation. And I'm pretty frank with people. I'm transparent. I'll say, hey, if you don't have 20 minutes, you don't have a life right now. And that generally hits home because people are like, you know what? I do waste a lot of time doing X, Y, Z. I can carve away 20 minutes to have a better life, to show up for my family, to be present, and to have peace in my life. And again, I'm not going to get into the brain science. I'm not going to get into what this does at a cellular level, but the proof is already out there. So let's get into the meditation. This is a 3-phase meditation. And anyone out there can do it. Again, it's free. We give it away for free. A lot of our veterans and first responders have left our program to go to VA centers across the country and teach Vietnam veterans how to meditate. It's an incredible process. So simple as this. I'm going to pull my other cell phone out here. This is my old phone that the kids sometimes play with. Okay, so I have an app called Insight Timer. You can probably see it. It looks like a little gong. I'm going to click on the Insight Timer. And from there, I'm going to go to Timer, and I'm going to hit that button. And what you can do basically is you can hit a bell or you can hit some kind of a gong that lets you know that the meditation's starting. There's all kinds of meditations out there. I'm not here to proclaim that we have the greatest meditation. I'm just here to tell you that what we've been doing and what I've been a part of for the last 4 years and what this organization's doing for the last 8 has been changing and saving lives. It's wonderful. And I hope if you're open enough to at least sit down and try this meditation, that you will be open to the wide world of mindfulness practices that are out there, but including the one that we offer. We also started doing this because we've had to suspend or postpone our cohorts. So those happen in person. They generally happen between groups of 8 to 13 people, and it's folks that come from all over the country. And what's going on and what we're trying to do with practicing safe social and physical distancing from each other, it's our responsibility to postpone those until we can ensure the safety of all the participants. So you have to imagine, we can't guarantee where everybody's coming from, and we know that COVID-19 can be asymptomatic. So at this moment in time, we're going to postpone them. We've moved them to a later date, but we want to be able to serve those that are still on the waiting list. So this is a great way. An email was sent out to everybody that was part of a postponed cohort. I hope they're on this right now. If not, I hope they get on the one this afternoon. But basically, we want to be able to serve them while they're waiting in the queue. So there's a lot of ways to do that. This is one of the ways that we can do that. So back to the meditation. This is called Insight Timer. It's free. You can go on. It's on iOS. It's on Android. It's a free app, so you can download it. I set the meditation duration to 20 minutes. Then I set the interval bells to 2 repeating. And within that, if you go in there, you can select when it repeats. So because each phase is equal on Warrior Meditation, it's going to repeat every 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So we're going to kick it off. We'll have a bell at 6:40, another bell at 6:40, and an end bell. And that's how it's going to go. I have an ambient sound, which is going to be a stream, so you're going to hear that in the background. My phone is right in front of me, so you're going to kind of be able to hear that sound projecting up through the speaker. And then I have an ending bell. So when I'm ready to start this, all I got to do is hit start. So let's talk about the meditation. There's 3 phases in this. The first phase of our Warrior Meditation is called Nullification, like to nullify essentially. And within this nullification phase, you're going to do 2 things out there. 2 things, okay? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do tapping of the fingers. Okay, so there's a physical movement involved here. We're going to do this with our eyes closed. And the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to say a mantra to ourselves internally in our minds. If you want to say it out loud, you can, but I suggest you just do it internally And don't worry about trying to breathe in unison with all this. We're just going to say a mantra. The mantra is going to go like this. Ah, va. Those are the two words you're going to say to yourself. Ah, like A-H, va, V-A. Ah, va. You're going to say it at about that rate while you tap your thumb to your index. Ah, va, ah, va, ah, va. And you can do this at the same time with both fingers. Okay? You can work your way back up, or you can go right back to the beginning and work your way down. So you're going to repeat this ah, va for the first 6 minutes and 40 seconds while you're going into this meditation. Now this is very effective. Okay, I'm not going to get into too much on this, but this targets your anterior cingulate, which is a part of your brain that is responsible for some very important ways of being in our life, including compassion and empathy. So we want to start to get to this space where we're going to do the ava, we're going to do the physical analog EMDR, the tapping of the fingers. I recommend that you kind of sit and lay your hands either in your lap, or you lay your hands on a chair if you're sitting on one like me. And while you're doing this with your eyes closed, you're simply just getting into a relaxed state. You'll notice almost immediately, like I have, that our face carries a lot of tension, we carry a lot of tension up here in our traps. And so start to relax some of that as well. We're not going to do a body scan per se. That's a type of meditation as well, where you start at your head and you work your way down to your feet. But we are at least going to be aware and realize like where we're holding tension in our body, and see if you can start to loosen that up a little bit. We're going to want to keep a nice good posture. So if you can see I'm sitting up, this is going to be a nice deep diaphragmatic breath that we're going to do as we move into the second phase. So you're going to do that first nullification phase for the first 6 minutes and 40 seconds. When that phase is done, you're going to drop the finger tapping. So the physical piece of this will now end as far as the meditation goes. So you can leave your hands wherever they be, put them in your lap, leave them up like this, whatever's comfortable for you. And we're going to start to introduce the breath work. This is called the breath awareness phase. So you'll hear a gong go off at 6:40. You'll start to introduce some breath work. And as we drop the finger tapping, we're going to breathe in conjunction with the ah and the va. So we're going to take a nice deep diaphragmatic breath in through our nostrils on the ah, and a nice deep breath out through our chest, out through our mouth, our diaphragm on the va. And we're going to do that for the next 6:40, and that's breath awareness phase. So this is where we introduce the breath, and for the next 6:40 we'll do that. When that phase is complete, when the breath work phase is complete, the breath awareness, we're going to move into the third phase. Now you'll hear another gong go off, another bell. When that third phase happens, that's the Cognition phase, okay? That's the third phase, metacognition. Okay, now that derives from a root word that's like beyond cognition, more than cognition. And the whole point of us having this in 3 phases so we can drop into a deeper state of meditation. Because this is particularly tough for those that have never tried meditation, for me to just say, hey, why don't you sit down and we're just going to sit and breathe for 20 minutes. It may be a real challenge, so there's a reason why we've developed these phases, so you can get into an ultimate, deepest state of meditation, which is that third phase. In the metacognition phase, you're going to drop the ava, which is the mantra, and you're just going to breathe in through your nostrils, out through your mouth. Nice deep diaphragmatic breath. So now we're in only the breathing. A variety of things may show up during this phase of the meditation because it's silent at that point. It may not be silent. It may not even be silent on this meditation. I can't promise that because I got kids running around there. I said, please, I'm going to do a meditation. Can you please practice playing in silent for the next 30-40 minutes? So hopefully they do. If not, I apologize, because those of you that have kids at home probably get that. But you're going to breathe, and in this phase, bodily states, mental states, emotional states, thoughts, including memories, representations, may show up for you. These thoughts, these feelings, and sensations, phenomena, different things show up. People see colors, people see images, things return from childhood. One of the big things that differentiates our program from a lot of other programs out there is we really treat the source of what's going on with post-traumatic stress, and we go right down to childhood, to that original crime scene that maybe was the thing that got us to run away or to join the military or our first responder corps in the first place. So we go all the way back to the beginning. We treat that through what we call moral injury, which is what happens as an adult, whether it be in war, life on the streets, you name it. But we go all the way down to that. So whatever surfaces during this last phase, it may be the stress that you're dealing with right now. Hey, am I going to get to pay my mortgage on time? Like, what's going on with the stimulus bill? What's going on with all of these things? We all have stressors that we're dealing with right now. So in this third phase, the most important thing you can do is if something surfaces for you, don't attach any judgment to it. Don't dwell on it. Just breathe through it and let it go. And that may sound weird. That may sound foreign. Just know that this is something that takes practice. One of the biggest things we promote is having meditation as a daily practice. And I encourage you right now, if you're sitting down, to do this with me for the first time. Look at this as if you're sitting down behind an instrument that is completely foreign to you. And it's like, man, I know that I won't master this instrument by the end of the day. I know I'm not going to be able to go into a piano bar and wow the crowd. You know what I mean? I know I'm not going to be able to get on stage and shred this guitar, because these things take time. And anyone that's tried to learn an instrument knows that there's a frustrating point where it's like, man, I'm not getting this, I'm just going to give up. And maybe that thing goes and sits and collects dust in a basement somewhere, like my guitar did when I was a teenager. So I encourage you to look at this as a practice. I encourage you to look at this with optimism that, hey, maybe this is something that I can incorporate into my daily practice. That's really important, because this will change your life if you do. I promise. Your brain may not see effects for the first 2, 3, 4 days, but it will after 2 or 3 weeks. And again, there's science to back that. I won't debate the science. I'm not going to debate these folks at these incredible institutions that have studied our brains. So we know that it can change your brain. We don't know if that has permanent lasting effects after 2 or 3 weeks. Probably not. But those monks and nuns and certain folks that have been involved in prayer and meditation for a decade or for 10,000 hours, which is what they deem an expert level, their brains actually get permanently changed. And, you know, I'm relatively young and I plan on living a long life, you know, God willing. So I would love to be able to have those permanent changes myself. So I look forward to that, and I just continue to meditate every day. And I've seen a lot of changes in myself over the last 4 years on just the way I show up, what actually gets to me, which is barely anything these days. I mean, you know, I pride myself on having composure and being that leader, you know, the spiritual leader for my family, my friends, my community. So that's important to me. You got to go after what's important to you, but if just getting some peace happens, I'll be really happy to hear that. So that last phase of meditation, if something comes to you, we've had a lot of different ways to deal with that have been discussed within our meditation. Some people look at it as a message in a bottle, you know, that negative thought is just going out with the tide to sea. Some people look at it as a train car, right? We have all these cars coming by. I'm standing at the train station. I have a negative thought or something that's overcoming me. It passes by and I don't sit on it and dwell. And what you'll notice as you're, you know, becoming present, becoming grounded, is that if you do get stuck on something, what you'll start to notice is that your breath will lock up. And so that's why I encourage you to get back to the breath. And I'm going to talk to you through this meditation. I'm also going to meditate with you. So I'll talk you through each phase. And so that way, as you get into it, if you've forgotten what I've said, it'll be reiterated so you can take part in that. So I'll talk you through the phase. We'll get through that third phase, and then you're going to hear a bell go off. I encourage you to just slowly, you know, stretch your neck, stretch out, come to a place where you can just calmly and steadily ease yourself out of the meditation. And then we'll talk about it briefly, and that'll conclude this morning's meditation. So again, if you haven't invited anybody on here yet, tag someone that you know that is maybe having a tough time and say, hey, here's a resource, here's a way of being that you can incorporate in your life that could add benefit, that could add value. So I'm going to kick this thing off here in a second. I encourage you to stay on here and meditate with us, as we'll be doing this twice daily. And here goes our first part of the meditation. So remember, you're going to keep your eyes closed. I'll talk you through the rest. So keep your eyes closed for the next 20 minutes. That's the key. So you can really get present. You can really ground yourself. Here we go. All right, there's the first bell. So in this first bell, we're moving into the first phase of meditation. You should hear that stream. That's the ambient sound that I talked about. And in this first phase, this is the nullification phase. And all we're doing is we're tapping our index finger to our thumb, our middle finger to our thumb, our ring finger to our thumb, our pinky finger to our thumb, and then we're working our way back up while we're saying inside our head a mantra, ah, va. So it'd be like this, ah, va, ah, va, ah, va, ah, va. And we're just going to repeat that. You keep your hands wherever they're comfortable for you while you're doing this finger tapping. But it's important that you do the finger tapping as you repeat that mantra and you start to notice the things about yourself that may be holding on to a lot of stress physically. We carry a lot of it in our face, in our neck, and in our shoulders, even in our chest. So I'm going to sit here in silence with you, and I'm just going to meditate in this nullification phase of warrior meditation for the first 6 minutes and 40 seconds. When we hear the next gong, I'll go ahead and talk you through this next phase. That gong marks the end of the first phase of warrior meditation. So we're going to simply stop the finger tapping. So just let your hands lie wherever's comfortable for you. And now we're going to start to introduce that breath work in unison with the mantra Ah Va. So we're going to take a nice deep diaphragmatic breath in through our nostrils on the Ah. And then a nice deep diaphragmatic breath out through our mouth on the Va. We're going to do this breath awareness phase, the second phase of warrior meditation, for the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I encourage you to continue to just do a brief scan of your body, realize where you're maybe carrying some extra stress, and see if you can loosen that up. Also, please keep your eyes closed. This will help presence you, this will help ground you, and keep from you becoming distracted or whatever's going on the outside. So let's just take a nice deep breath in on the Ah. Nice deep breath out through the mouth on the Va. And we'll do this breath awareness phase for the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds until we hear the next gong that lets us know that this particular phase is complete. That gong marks the end of the second phase. You can drop the mantra. So we're going to get rid of the ah-va, and we're simply going to breathe nice, deep, diaphragmatic breaths in through our nostrils and out through our mouth. In this third phase, the Cognition phase of warrior meditation. In this phase, it's not uncommon for mental states, bodily states, emotional states, thoughts, including memories and representations to show up for us. These thoughts, these feelings, sensations, phenomena that are described in the past. Now that we're just sitting here and it's basically us and our breath, there's not any other things going on in this meditation. Things may occur from our past or that we're dealing with right now. And the most powerful thing that we can do is just continue to breathe through whatever surfaces for us. If that's a negative thought, don't sit on it, don't dwell on it, just acknowledge it and let it go. Don't be discouraged if this is your first time meditating and that's not occurring for you right now. There is no wrong way to do this meditation, but to simply not try and do it. So just continue to take those nice deep breaths. See if you can notice your breath, because when we do get stuck on something, our chest, our breath, it starts to lock up. So just come right back to the breath, recenter yourself, and just keep breathing through it. And I want you to think while you're doing this, while your eyes are closed, while you're breathing in, that, and this is a Saul maxim, this is something that we talk about in our program. I'm going to share this with you because this is really important. I want you to think, maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally. I'm going to say that again as you breathe through this third phase, this metacognition phase. Maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally. And if you can make that discovery during this meditation or at some meditation in the future, I promise you that your life will change forever. Because it's these thoughts, it's that voice that we hear in our head that runs like a ticker all day long, that ends up running our life. And for some of us, it ends up putting us in positions which we never thought we would be in. So if we can catch ourselves catching ourselves, which this third phase is the money maker, then maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally. And maybe my life can completely change. So we're going to breathe through this third phase. Remember, you can always come back to the breath. Yes, if this becomes too overwhelming for you, you can always drop down into a previous phase. I encourage you, though, to stick with this, though. Don't get up. Don't open your eyes. Don't move around. If you have an itch that you need to scratch, just breathe through this. Steady yourself and continue to scan and see if you notice that stress in your face and your shoulders and your neck. Just let that go and breathe in. Nice deep breath in through your nostrils. Nice deep breath out through your mouth. third and final bell marks the end of warrior meditation. Slowly just stretch your neck out. Lift your arms up if you need to, just stretch and come to. Looks like we have about 24 people on this live video right now. I appreciate you staying on to meditate with me, and I hope that you tune in every day. This is so beneficial. This is something that will change your life if you're open-minded enough to whatever's going on for you to say, hey, you know what? I have stress in my life. I have anxiety in my life. I can feel it in my chest every day. I don't feel well. I want to do something that can add positive value to my life that I know is backed by science and I know has worked for so many other people. So please invite Jake Clark, our founder, the president and founder of SAL, who's been on his own journey for the last 25 years through recovery, through all these amazing practices and spiritual principles he's learned. He's going to come on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. He's going to come on here. He's going to do a meditation session with you as well. I've already done a lot of the work as far as talking about the benefits, so Jake may talk about some things on the backside. He'll probably specifically get into that third phase, because we believe that is so important here, that metacognition phase, the being able to just be with yourself without having judgment, being able to just breathe through whatever's going on. You know, that's where our true power comes from as human beings, is if you can practice emotional sobriety, if you cannot take things out on your kids, you cannot take things out on your husband and wife, if you can be in a place where you're not attaching judgment to things, a lot of power comes from that. And for some of you that may sound a little silly, but I can tell you it's changed my life in more ways than one. It looks like we have a lot of people on there. Thank you for tuning in. It's been incredible doing this warrior meditation with you. I hope that you tune in for the 7 p.m. one tonight. I will be coming back on here tomorrow, and what we'll do is we'll use this first video for anybody that hasn't done it, that you're sending to our like page. Say, hey, why don't you check out the first video that Adam did, or the first video that Jake did, because there'll be a deeper explanation, as you just saw, into why we do it. From here on out, I'll probably just be hopping on, briefly saying hello, you know, giving you best wishes and going right into the meditation. So we'll use this as kind of the example for everybody, as the foundation, and then we'll move forward. So thank you for tuning in. I love all of you. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to be praying for you. I'll be thinking about you. I'll be meditating, and I hope that this added value to your life. So thank you and have a wonderful day. I appreciate you.